hang out outside and make myself available for questions in case I don't touch on just exactly everything. It's a beautiful Sunday with the last weekend day of the year, so I'm sure a lot of you are excited to get out and enjoy it. But to start off, on behalf of all the faculty and staff of St. John's, it's super good to see you guys all, parents, especially students. It's awesome to look out and see so many friendly, I'm sure smiling faces that we weren't able to see for 5-6 months now. So I'm really happy to be able to start a school year with you in a couple of days, and looking forward to spending 15 or 20 minutes just going over some things I think will help us make the year go as smooth as possible. So to start off, seems like, I guess, kind of a cliche thing to do is to start by reading your mission statement. But really, our vision statements do drive everything we do. They pop up at many of our faculty meetings, a lot of our school board meetings. And I just wanted to reiterate to you guys that we're still very committed to these 4 things. These are the 4 most important things to us as a school. Obviously, hopefully it goes without saying that we're a Christian school. We want to teach your kids and help your kids learn to praise Jesus better and more and as often as we can here at school. We do that by having religion class, letting them sing in church, the way we discipline your children, the way we partner with you, sharing God's word with them at home and school, just a true privilege. And that really is the number one vision, that if you had to pick any out of all those, if your kids graduate our school with a passion to praise Jesus and a variety of ways to do that, I think they're on a good path forward. But it's not all we want to do either. We certainly want to continue to grow our partnership with you guys. You know, the last 5 months have been a little unique partnership in that there hasn't been a lot of face-to-face interaction, but it's been really good communicating with you kind of digitally, and the cooperation we've gotten, we're committed to make sure that keeps on going now, because we really do consider it a privilege to partner with you, not only in your Christian education, but also the academic growth of your child. And that leads to the next one up there. Oops, I'm missing my mark. I forgot I'm supposed to stand like right here for the video recording. Sorry, anybody watching at home. Pursue excellence, we've talked a lot about lately. It's been so, as I'm sure in your own personal lives, it's been so easy to get overwhelmed with the coronavirus and dealing with all that and getting our school prepared to be safe and clean, that your kids deserve a good education too when they come here. So we've talked a lot about not just making it safe and clean, but also ways we can make sure that your children are getting an excellent academic education here. And so please let us know if you feel like we've slipped in that regard, or if you have any feedback for how we're going to do things. We talked a lot about it. The digital learning and distance learning definitely was challenging. That's why we're so happy to get back face-to-face, but we are committed to not just keeping everything clean here, but also to giving your children really good face-to-face and virtual instruction so they're prepared for high school academically. And our last vision is to promote the character skills in your children. We do that in a couple of ways. Obviously, our religion class lends itself nicely to what God would have your children do and how they would act. But we also have special times throughout the day. Friday afternoon, we have a time where we did school-wide team building. It's going to look a little different this year since we're not going to be able to gather as a big school family real often. But we do have a character trait each month, and the first one is showing respect. So watch for ways your child's teacher incorporates that into lessons and communications going home. And we look forward to continuing that program on down the line. Lends itself nicely to the school theme. We're dually federated with Wisconsin Lutheran High School and Kettle Moraine Lutheran High School, so we kind of borrow one or the other of their school themes each year. This one happens to fall with Wisconsin Lutheran there. If you have any relation that goes there, maybe you've seen that already. Rejoice in the Lord always. And it kind of ties in nicely with kind of everything that's going on. If you think of those 5 words, they probably each have a little bit of meaning to come out. Rejoice. We're going to show your kids that maybe that means more than just smiling every once in a while, that we truly have a reason every time we wake up to rejoice in the Lord. In reminds us that we have to stay connected to our Savior. If we're not in faith and in the Lord, there really isn't a reason to rejoice always. The word "the," it's just a small little article, but it reminds us there's only really one true God, and we're going to show your children about the Lord, not just any Lord or any God. Lord reminds us that he's the one that did everything for us. He came to this earth, led a perfect life, and died for all of our sins. We're going to talk about that with your kids. And then the tougher one is always. In sickness and in health, when we're kind of in a good mood, maybe tempted to be in not such a good mood, if we can remind your children along with you at home and us here at school that really God's given us every reason to rejoice. He's secured their eternal future, so no matter what happens here, it's a good day to smile and be happy. So that's the theme. You'll see some signage over at school, and it'll be kind of a logo on our communication this year, Rejoice in the Lord Always. On your way out, I'm going to give you a handy-dandy 2020 and 21 hot off the press parent-student handbook. I'd like you to read it cover to cover as soon as you get home, but in case you don't, I picked 4 policies that are, I guess, just worth probably mentioning as a group. If you read the handbook later and have a question of anything else, shoot me a call or an email or catch me on one of the first days of school here. Attendance policy, might wonder why that's up there. We have to come up with a way for those that have chosen our distance learning path, which is under 10, but there is a small group that is going to be choosing the distance learning. And if we ever have to go to a virtual learning situation, we do have to track attendance. So the way we've come up with, if your son or daughter checks in for the virtual Zoom meetings, they're going to be marked present as long as they keep current with their schoolwork. And we're going to mark that every day as long as, if your child's in a situation where they're staying home for whatever reason and they're able to check in online, that's how we're going to track attendance. Obviously, if you're choosing the in-person option, and it'll be tracked just normally. If your child's here, they're marked present. But just a little tweak because we have to keep track of who's attending because we have to be in school for a certain number of hours. So we've come up with a way to just track digital attendance. Cell phone policy, our upper graders, a lot of them bring cell phones to school. That policy is really unchanged. You turn your cell phone in when you come in the morning, and it'll be kept in a lockbox. And then on your way out the door, you can grab that again as you leave. Probably worth noting to parents just that the best way to get a hold of your child is still calling the school office because they're not going to have access to their cell phone. If it's an emergency, they can always ask to use it or the school phone and be able to contact you that way. But if you need to get a hold of them, it's probably easiest to call Brenda in the office and they can get the message where it needs to go. Face coverings, there is a state mandate until September 27th. So we plan to follow that in the building. There are a couple of exemptions that are probably worth noting. One of them I'm exercising right now. A teacher or a person speaking in front of a group is not required to have a face covering on as long as they keep 6 feet of distance. Some of our teachers may from time to time utilize that exemption. A lot of them plan to wear a face shield at the very least, but that's one exemption. The other one would be a medical exemption. If your child has a medical reason not to wear a face covering, you can let your child's teacher know. There's some with some sensory sensitivities that also is covered under the exemption that we plan to honor. So just ask that you communicate with your child's teacher ahead of time so we know kind of what's going on. When the mandate expires, the school board plans to relook at things and kind of, like everything else, take it as it comes and kind of readjust if necessary. But if anybody has any questions about that, so in the building, except when the children are eating, they'll have a face covering on. We do plan to offset that by taking them outside often as possible, because we realize we need a break. It's not realistic to have everybody sit in there all day long with the coverings on without a little bit of time. So the upper grade teachers at least, and I know I've got some ideas for around the building over there for having outside class. We talked the first couple of weeks, especially 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, just because there's no air conditioning in those rooms if it's hot, once per class at the very least, going out and giving them a chance to take that off. So give me some feedback as we get going here, but we do have it in our minds that we need to give them a break from the face covering. So, and the only thing with the dress code I was going to just mention is that kids can wear shorts up until October 15th, and then starting again on April 15th. As long as they're not too short or too tight. And then anytime the temperature is forecast to be over 70 degrees. So for those that maybe didn't remember that or were wanting to know, it sounds like we're going to have some pretty good weather, at least temperatures starting off here. But if it gets hot again, they can wear shorts up until October 15th here in the fall. A couple more. Before and after school care routines. Our before school care program, Shelley Fix is going to be taking care of the preschool before school care down in that wing. And Mrs. Wintersberger is going to be here in the mornings. When I sent the before school care survey out, we didn't have a whole lot of K-8 families that were going to use it or plan to use it regularly. So we're going to use the traditional after school care room for K-8 before school care. We feel like with the amount of kids that signed up, we can distance them in there pretty easily. And Mrs. Wintersberger will be able to sit back at that desk. So if you do have a need for, I guess one thing, if you do plan to use it more regularly than you indicated on the survey, just let me know. But right now, I think most mornings we have maybe 1 to 2 kids that were planning to use it. So I think we'll be able to spread out pretty good. After school care, in the preschool wing, Mrs. Sear is going to take care of the preschool after school care. And K-8 after school care, which we did have a few more say they were going to use regularly. We're going to do that in the gym to start off. And Mrs. Nowak is going to be supervising most days. And on the other days, you might see a teacher in there or someone else. I believe Mrs. Nowak's going to take care of most of the days. I think when you, I know I should have this figured out by now, but when you come on the first days, I'm going to have, just to try to keep parent traffic a little limited, there's going to be a Mrs. Nowak's, and tell her, a way to contact her from outside the building, so when you're here, you could just call her, and then she can bring your child out to you. So we'll try that. If it's too much running back and forth for Mrs. Nowak, we'll come up with a different system. But if you utilize the after-school care, it'll be posted on the doors there, just a way to contact the after-school care person, then they'll bring your child out with their backpack and stuff. The drop-off and pick-up procedures, I'm not going to go over every single one of those, but if you have any questions, if you didn't get the video, I'm going to send it back out today when I send this slideshow. So if you have any questions getting going, I guess the main thing is 3rd and 4th here, preschool and kindergarten come in through the middle, and then 1, 2, 5 through 8 always go in through the gym doors. And I've told the bus company this too, to drop off there, but as we get going, I don't know, 5 to 8 kids, maybe a couple here. If they drop you off by the middle doors, just try to remember to go in through the gym doors. If you're in 1st or 2nd or 5th to 8th. And then at the end of the day, our traditional loop, and we'll have the kids standing but by grade level, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and then bus will be standing kind of behind where the bike rack is, and we'll try that system out. If you have, I made a mistake, 3rd and 4th is not going to be standing over here. 3rd and 4th, if you have somebody over here, you can come and get them through here, and there is no set order. If you want to get your 3rd and 4th grader first, then come get your 7th and 8th grader, that's kind of up to you. That was a lot. Any talking on it, or any questions on anything I've talked about so far? Sorry to just talk at you, but all right, that's really small. But thank you for working with us as we got a new student information system going. If you had some snafus, I do apologize. I do think in the long term, it's going to be a benefit not only for Brenda in the office, but for you as a parent to be able to see everything all at once. It's going to allow you to communicate really easily with your teacher. The teacher can mass email all the parents from a grade very easily. There'll be announcements up on there if you log in. And then the double benefit for you, I guess, is that you can see the academic portion of what's going on with your children and also the financial portion and everything that goes there, as opposed to checking facts for the financial and then Power School for the academics. And then, ProCare if you had kids in after-school care. It was just 3 systems that we've kind of congealed into one. And it makes it easier on our end and hopefully for you. But the good news also is after this first year, the re-enrolling for next year will be much easier since we already have all your data in there now. So thank you, and thanks to Brenda here. Oh, thank you, Brenda. She did all the work to get that going and helped maybe some of you get everything plunked in there correctly. But if you need any help, if you have questions along the way, there are nice help videos up there for everything. But if you want to call me or Brenda, we can try to walk you through any trouble you might be having with that as well. A couple updates if you haven't gone through the school, which you probably haven't. Starting up here, you'll notice some touchless hand sanitizers all over the place in the school over there. So we hope to have the kids utilize those as often as possible. This happened way back, like as soon as the shutdown. Mr. Hurlebus, our janitor, I'm actually showing this picture. It's supposed to be the beautiful ceiling tiles here. The back going out to the playground there, maybe I'm the only one that ever noticed this because walking families around there, I always used to make sure everybody was looking at the floor when we went past that spot. The ceiling tiles were just like 4 different kinds. It was all messed up, and it just did not look real. It bothered me every time I went to get a drink over there. And Mr. Hurlebus ripped everything down and redid it pretty much solo. There's a lot of guys that helped out with some of this, but he he redid that, and the 5th to 8th grade hallway. I think you'll notice if you looked up before, maybe you never noticed that stuff, but he put a lot of work in to redoing the ceiling area in that lower wing and then out on the way to the playground. This is Mr. Wallen and Mr. Hurlebus put in another water bottle filler that's up on the 1st and 2nd grade level of the school. The drinking fountains will be shut off other than these water bottle fillers, so we now have 2 of them in the school. You see a big smile. You can tell maybe on Mrs. Ott's face. If you look at her right now, she's got a big smile on her face, I'll bet. Mrs. K's back there too. These are air conditioning units that went into the 1st and 2nd grade rooms upstairs. So if you ever were up there, in June or in September or some random day in July, it was just really, really hot. So we're really, really happy to be able to provide a little more comfortable environment for the 1st and 2nd graders and the teachers to work. They really work nice. So our plan as of now is to the 3rd and 4th grade room, once we get back over there, God willing, soon. That would be the next one to get one of those. So, and then the big project was the kitchen. That picture doesn't really do it justice, but the whole kitchen got remodeled. It was repainted red, white, and black back there. There's new countertops and a big island there, a couple new sinks. So when you get a chance to come on in the building, we're really, really happy our church and school family was able to do that for us. Overall, if you know any of the people I'm about to name, and hopefully I don't forget everybody, you can say thanks. There's a lot of volunteer hours that went into this. Mr. Hurlebus, Mrs. Pickler, Lisa Pickler, Dave Murphy, Jerry Murphy, Gene Leonard, Dave Schweiger, Steve Rosh. I'm probably forgetting a couple, but there was a whole bunch of guys. Who's that? Did I forget? Oh, Tina Prost. Yeah, thank you. There was a lot of people that put a lot of time in to get all that done, so really, really awesome to have that much volunteer work to get that stuff done. We're really happy to show it off soon. Parents in Partnership is our parent group. Just when this all started in March, we were getting rolling with kind of revamping everything. We split our committee into we split the whole group into a leadership team of 11, one from every grade, a 3K parent, a 4K parent, all the way up to 8th grade. And we organized them into 4 committees to try to get some real active work done. And we have, the 4 committees are outreach and community service, and we had things lined up before the coronavirus shut them down. We were going to do a Mercy Mat activity with our lower grades, and then our upper grades were going to pair with the school in Milwaukee and do some partner reading and go down there. It just never happened because of the situation. But we plan to get that going again. Fundraising is this, we're targeting the playground stuff for the older kids in the back. That particular playground set's been there for quite a while, so the fundraising target and efforts this year are going to go towards that. We got a little seed money in there already, and we're hoping to be able to move on it next summer already. It's a little bit of a lofty goal, but our fundraising committee for that will get us going right away in the fall with a glow run or fun, what's that called again? Witness the Fitness, which we did 2-3 years ago and seemed to be a success. Fellowship, we did have one trivia night, and I'm looking forward to see what the fellowship crew plans up for the next year. The goal would be 1 each semester. And then the one that did, but the one that I'm really appreciative of is the Teacher and Staff Appreciation Committee, which was able to really show a lot of appreciation despite the circumstances in the spring and summer. So we do have, I think, 10 of the 11 people agreed to come back this year. That doesn't mean, though, that you aren't going to be involved. The 11 do the planning, and then we all get to join in the fun and the work and making it happen. So our first meeting, and I'm working on the format for it, is Wednesday, September 16th. And that would not just be the 11. That's going to be the entire school family. And hopefully by then we'll have some ideas of what we're going to be doing this fall. And then we can share them out with you and start to recruit the help that we're going to need. So if you're not one of the 11 on the committee, we do still expect and really want everybody to be a part of all the activities that end up coming out of the group. Hot lunch, Mrs. Pickler is working hard to make that a safe spot. As you know, she works really hard to provide great meals and looks for deals. She runs a really, really efficient kitchen. She wanted me to note in this format that because of the delivery schedule and availability of some of it, there might be some last-minute menu changes just because of what's available each week from our food service provider. So she'll communicate those out as soon as possible. But I saw the first menu. It looks, pretty typical and, delicious lineup just about every single day. The procedures in there, we are going to all eat in our classrooms except for third and fourth grade. Third and fourth grade will eat in their traditional classroom. It's set up as a mini cafeteria right now. But we'll all be eating in our room and coming through the line one grade at a time. I think the third and fourth is our biggest group with 20 that'll come through the line. So we are going to ask that they keep the face covering on as they go through the line. The helper and Mrs. Pickler will hand them most of the stuff they need. And when they get back to their room, they can obviously take the face covering off and enjoy their lunch. So there are a few different procedures for eating that we'll teach the kids as we go through, but we will offer a full hot lunch and then also the salad bar option as well. If your child usually brought something to microwave or like to tuck something in one of the fridges in the kitchen, those are still both options, although we're going to ask that instead of walking to the kitchen themselves, they give anything they need refrigerated to a teacher. And then the microwave situation, we're not going to have them use the microwaves in the kitchen. Each classroom has a microwave, so they'll be able to warm things up that way. In general, it's probably, if you can keep those sort of things to a minimum, it probably would help a little bit. But we'll, if you have to bring a microwavable meal, we can make it happen. And then she also asked me to just mention anybody who is willing to help and sign up, even if it's for one day a month or one random day. Especially with having to hand out a few more things herself. She sure would appreciate any time you could help from, I think it's usually like 10 o'clock to, I don't know, is it like 10 o'clock to 12:30 or so usually? No? 1:30? Okay. So around that time, by the time she helped get the food ready, serve it, and clean up. So if you can help at all, you can contact Lisa or the school office. If you're in second service, you already know this, but I thought it might be worth just noting the two ladies that God has called to teach in our school, so you can say hi to them if you haven't already. Mrs. Boggs in the top left corner there. She'll be teaching our third and fourth grade in the morning, religion, math, and English language arts. And then Melissa DeRuiter will be teaching the 3K in the morning, and then the third and fourth grade in the afternoon. So they're both here still, so if you get a chance afterwards, say hi to them and welcome them to the staff. Super excited to work with them. They're kind of in a unique situation with team teaching down over in this building. And Beth found out midway through the summer. So they've been working hard to get things ready. I'm confident they're gonna offer a great classroom environment. So welcome to those two. And then I'm not going to reread the whole reopening plan. If you have a question about anything, I'll hang out afterwards. But thanks for your cooperation in making this work. I know I did get a lot of feedback after I sent the plan out, and I can tell that you guys also understand the unique situation. Just a privilege to be able to lead a school and serve a school where I feel like parents are really on board with what's going on. So thanks for the support that you sent our way. We kind of had the goal, we want to offer excellent face-to-face instruction, but also provide a quality distance learning option. I think right now we have 5 students that have opted for distance learning and 79 that are going to come back face-to-face. That's in K-8. So the majority of you preferred the face-to-face, but at some point there may be a time, whether through quarantine or a governmental order, where we're all going to have to, I can't guarantee that's not going to happen. So on the next slide, I just have a few things with distance learning, and then anything else with the reopening plan. If you have a question that would apply to the whole group, you can feel free to ask it now. Otherwise, like I said, I'm also going to hang out for a while afterwards. But to make it work, we did increase the cleaning and sanitization stuff over at school. We plan to communicate real clearly and regularly, whether that's through the newsletter or through the fax student information system. Anytime we find out about something that you need to know about, we're going to be honest about what's going on here. And I know you guys, too, will be with me, because that's going to be an important part of it as well, that you communicate from your side anything that might be going on, so we can share things out and figure out the best way to move forward. And I guess number 3 kind of goes without saying, but we had a goal here. We want to show love and concern to all members of our school family, no matter what side of the, fortunately, political or, coronavirus spectrum you fall on. We're all need to support and love each other as we go through their kids and families alike. So look forward to being able to facilitate some of that as we move forward. But please feel free to contact me if you have any questions or feedback about what's going on. I wasn't going to go through all the what-if scenarios that can pop up right now. Just know that we have the safety and the interest of you and your kids at the top of the list, and we're going to react accordingly. We feel like we're in a good spot to be able to do that. Last slide here. Just some distance learning things. If you choose to along the way go to distance learning, we do expect right now we plan to live stream the 5th to 8th grade classes. We'll see how that goes. We're planning to use Zoom as the primary platform for that and use a Chromebook propped up in one of the front desks just pointing at the board. 3rd and 4th grade will also be doing that for some of their classes, for those that choose the distance learning or because of whatever reason can't make it to school. So we do expect that they're on those live teaching sessions. That's why we're trying to do them. So if you can make the session, it's kind of an expectation that you make it. Obviously, if your child is sick, that's a different story. But technology, it might be an idea just to check, make sure you have adequate, in case we do have a whole school scenario, have adequate internet sorry, that's so tiny to read, but grades 5 to 8, our primary platform is going to be Google Classroom, which we will go over with the kids the first couple days of school. I have a tutorial video I'll send out for any parents that are wondering about it. And if you have a kindergarten through 4th grader, we're going to use a program called Seesaw, which is like Google Classroom for younger students. I think some of the teachers maybe already have shared some of that information out. But if you have any questions about that, you can let me know, and I have some help videos that I'll post to the website. And part of the first couple of days is just getting your child ready so they can, if we do have to react quickly and go to distance learning, they're ready to go, and the confusion is as minimal as possible with how we're going to operate things. We do have a schedule that we'll send out too, that the upper grades staff has figured out as to if we do go to a virtual learning, that this is going to be the schedule so you know it ahead of time. And I guess the only other thing would be the survey that went out in June before a lot of the other things happened with the face mask mandate and all that. Seemed to indicate that a lot of you could transition to distance learning okay. There were some families that I know would be a big adjustment to. And so we're willing to work with you if it takes a little while to get things set up. But just give me a call, and we'll figure it out as best we can, which is kind of what we've been trying to do this whole time. So God willing, we'll be face-to-face the whole year. But we do have plans kind of in place that we'll share out in case we do need to go to distance learning. And that, sorry for the 20-minute sermon. I will take any questions if you have any right now that you feel would benefit the whole group. Otherwise, I am going to hang out right out there. And if you have any individual questions, feel free to stop me and chat for a bit. Anybody have anything? Okay. It'll be awesome to see your kids on Tuesday. Again, thanks so much for coming. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon today, and feel free. We'll probably head outside right away if you don't mind, if you want to visit with some friends you haven't seen in a while, and I'll make myself available out there too. So thanks again, and we'll see everybody Tuesday morning.